Good afternoon, Rosie.
Hey.
How are you today?
Good. It's good morning here. Remember?
Morning.
Yep. Coffee time here.
Coffee time.
Yeah. I like the background. It's creepy. I like it.
That's
How's it
that's the
going?
remit for today's show.
Huh?
That's the remit.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice.
Have you seen any of my podcasts before?
Have I seen which kind? Or yours?
Podcast, radio show.
Have I seen a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I listen to them all the time on the radio, I guess. Does that count?
Do you listen to my ones?
Some of them, but I think they're older ones, the ones that I saw, because before, when I had first met you, I looked on the old website, and there was some older ones, I think, where you had interviewed people or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to some of those. Yeah, but
How
not
do you
anything
like it?
recently. I liked them. Yeah. Depends on, I guess, what the subject is, like what they're talking about, or the person that you're interviewing, what they're saying, I guess, if they're talking about something that's interesting to me or not, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, do you know what the first question I'll ask you is?
I do not.
How
What
do you
is
get
it?
into the paranormal field?
That's what I ask people all the time too, on that show that I do. That's like, sometimes though, for me, it's weird. It's a hard question to answer because I feel like, because I was into paranormal and then I stopped doing it because my family, like my parents were like, don't talk about that stuff. Everyone will think you're crazy. And so I just kind of pretended. I was like, no, I'm not really experiencing this. It's not real. So I just kind of like stuck to fact-based stuff, I guess, or like fairy tale, like, Disney stuff or whatever for a while, and pretended that I didn't actually have experiences. So I guess I had experiences for a long time since I was a kid, but when I actually started working doing paranormal work was last about a year and a half ago. Yeah, when some family members of mine passed away, a bunch of family members of mine passed away last year, and I just started having weird experiences before that at a cousin that had he had committed suicide, and we were really close. And after he passed away, really weird stuff started happening to me, like my covers would get yanked off of me in the middle of the night, and I didn't know why. And I would hear him talking to me in my ear while I was asleep, and I was like, wake up, and I wouldn't see anybody. And I was like, am I really seeing this and hearing this, or am I crazy? So I was like, I'm going to actually, I started looking around and talking to people about paranormal stuff and, other stuff, and other people had dealt with stuff like this. So I would say I actually started doing the job or the work of paranormal investigation about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. But my whole entire life I've done research and study about it and had experiences. And at least until like when I was old enough to remember, like maybe 6 or 7 or 8,
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been on any investigations?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mostly I've been on residential investigations and done residential work, but, we did one investigation. I'm on a team called Night Terror Collective, and we did one investigation, not the most recent weekend, but the weekend before that. It was an old building in the old historical downtown area that had been there, since the town was, I guess, to my knowledge, since the town was erected, it had been there 100 years or 100 more, more than 100. And, we did an investigation there, and it's been several different things. It's been a tea shop, like, tea that you drink. It's been a tea shop. Right now it's actually like a paranormal, like a oddities and curiosities shop. So they actually have some haunted items in there. And we did get quite a bit of different things going off that triggered the EMF detector. And we did a spirit box session and stuff in there and got some kind of weird answers. We did, what the Estes method is?
Yeah.
Where you like blindfold yourself, you put the headphones on, and then you've got a spirit box that goes through the AM/FM real quick, and you're like asking questions. Well, you don't ask the questions. I actually put the headphones on, the blindfold, and I just say what I hear, and then my team member Jason asks the questions, and I can't hear what he's asking, and I just say what I hear, and then it gets written down, and then we kind of go back and compare, and they tell me if it made sense or not, like what they had asked and what I had said. And it was kind of weird because what they had asked and what I said kind of went together, like what they were asking the spirits there. There's supposed to be a spirit there. I can't remember. I think his name was Nick or Mike. Anyways, he had described himself as Nick or Mike, and they were talking to him, and he had been talking about how he passed away and stuff like that, and they asked how many spirits were there, how he had passed away, and he said he was sick. He died from a sickness, because it was back, before they really had, like, the technology that they have now in medicine and stuff like that. And, the answers, they matched up with what it said, but that was the most recent investigation. We are going next weekend on the 25th to Waverly Sanitarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jason are going to go to Waverly. I'm pretty excited about that. It's kind of like a big deal, that place is. So, we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know afterwards when we come back.
That will be interesting. That definitely will be. Have you done, like, any home investigations?
Yes. I've probably done just as many of those, or maybe even more of those, than the other. Because, I actually do cleansings, like spiritual cleansings and property cleansings, and cleansings from a person or an object. If something needs to be cleansed or someone thinks that it needs to be cleansed, I'll kind of gather information from them, like the family that lives there and what's going on, how they obtained an object. Oh no, what happened? Hang on a second. There. How they obtained an object, like how they got it, if they know the history behind it, if it could have caused them to be having some kind of weird activity, if they've done anything like play Ouija board or other stuff that would cause them to have weird experiences in their home. And after that, I'll go from there, and I'll usually do a thorough cleansing of the home, if that's what they want. Cleanse it from any negative energies, cleanse the item if there's an item that's involved, or the person if it's a specific person and they think that they have a knack for being magnetic and drawing things to them that might be negative. I'll cleanse the person. I usually pray with the whole family and anoint them with holy water and holy oil and do a protection prayer over them. So, yeah, I've probably done way more of those recently than the investigations in the public because of the coronavirus and everything being shut down,
Yeah.
We still get requests, though, for the home and the residentials. Quite a bit.
Have you had your COVID vaccine?
I have had one shot. And I have another shot in middle of May, the second follow-up shot. So, yeah. I have to get the shot.
Normality's coming back. Normality's finally coming back for everyone around the world.
Yeah, it seems like
sensible.
Yeah. It does seem like
things
things
went wrong on the investigations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where do I start? Well, I know on the very first investigation we went to a tuberculosis sanitarium. And one of the guys, our camera guy, got grabbed on the leg, and he just was like, ah, and screams and takes off running all the way, like far away down the hallway. And is like, F this. I'm not going to say the word, but it's like, F this, I'm out of here. He got scared because he also had felt like something, like, I don't know if you've ever been like, had the experience, but like, sometimes when you get touched or you think like a spirit's like messing with you, it feels like cobwebs or spider webs are touching you and it's kind of itchy or whatever, like if you walked through a spider web. And he had felt that, and then we had one of our devices, I think it was actually saying his name right before it grabbed him. And the SLS camera, which is what maps the energy as a stick figure, showed something next to him right before it grabbed him. So, and then he just took off. That was pretty funny. And then I don't know. We've had several different things. I mean, I wouldn't even say if that was the thing that went wrong. I just thought it was a thing that went awry. Kind of like went kind of crazy. One time I almost got pushed down some stairs. That was like by something that we couldn't see. I guess a spirit that didn't want us there in the house or in the home or whatever. So, it just kept it felt like I was getting pushed like 3 different times, and I was like, what's going on? I thought a girl there was pushing me, and it wasn't her. And then, Jason has had a chunk of glass thrown at him, and it hit him in the back. A big chunk of glass, like a thick, big chunk of glass was thrown at him and hit him in the back. He wasn't cut.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. That same night, another girl had a lid off of a can chunked at her in the same location. And another girl had her lighter came up missing. You know, like her lighter you light stuff with. She couldn't find it. And then at the end, we were wrapping things up, packing it, ready to leave, and we heard a really loud thumping noise. And we all went around the corner down the hallway to see what it was in that lighter of hers that had been missing all night. It was laying on the floor. So there's just some weird things, I guess. For example, that's gone wrong or weird, I guess you'd say, sideways.
What's your view on the necrophonic apps? Are they designed for entertainment, or are they actually realistically designed to capture?
I don't use it. I have never actually downloaded it on my device, but I do have some friends that have used it. 3 different friends that have used it. It seems to me, if in comparison to the other things that you can use that are not, a downloadable thing, that are actually a piece of equipment, that they work pretty close alongside in comparison with the devices that you would buy and spend, way more money on. I know for the money, I feel like it is worth the money that you spend on it versus like if you go out and you buy an Ovilus, if you go out and buy a Geo box and a Spirit box, they're going to cost more. I prefer the other ones. I just don't prefer like downloadable stuff because I'm always kind of leery that every app that you download, some of them have access to your information, some of them have access to your Siri or your verbal, like they can pick up what you say verbally, or I'm always kind of leery and half skeptical. I'm half believer, half skeptic. So I'm always kind of skeptical that I don't know exactly all of the logistics of how they work, but they could possibly, tap into your personal information, private stuff you don't want people to know. So that's why I prefer to go buy at the Ghost Box store a Spirit box that's not going to have anything to do with my phone, and it has no connection. It just runs on being charged and on batteries. I'd rather use one of those. But I do think that they're pretty accurate from what I've seen of the people that I know that use them. They seem pretty accurate and they seem worth the money.
Have you been attacked by a spirit?
I have never had a negative. On an investigation, I've never had an attack. Several other people that I know have, and several of the people on my team have had things happen to them. I will say I was dealing with someone trying to help someone that was having, I guess, like a spiritual warfare attack going on with their self. And somehow, I don't know how it came to be, but I was psychically attacked. So I don't know really if there's like an endless realm of study when you study spirituality and stuff. But I know that I didn't ask or invite or bring on whatever myself. And we always close out every investigation and every location with cleansing prayers and protection prayers, and we anoint each other and stuff and have a circle with the family, the kids, and ourselves. So I know that it didn't come from a location. I don't know if you'd say that the person sent a spirit to me, because I was seeing things in my home that were not supposed to be happening that actually kind of made me scared. And I actually had to do a more thorough cleansing than I've ever done. And I had to call in a friend of mine, and we trained together, and we did multiple cleansings on my place just to get rid of whatever energy it was. Was it a spiritual attack? Was it a spirit attacking me? I feel like it was, but I feel like it was brought forth by a human to attack me, like it was asked or it was sent to or conjured to me to attack me. So it didn't physically harm me. It just scared the crap out of me when I would see it. And then actually, I make soap. Like I make bars of soap as a business, you know. And when I came into my kitchen and I was making soap and I turned my head to grab something and came back, there were 3 lines cut in my soap and there was a knife sticking up out of it. So emotionally, that was like an attack on me mentally and emotionally, but it didn't physically touch me because I constantly ask to be protected and meditate protection on myself. But I guess that's still an attack on me, right? It's just not a physical attack. But yeah, it's an attack.
That was quite a disturbing attack.
Huh?
That was quite disturbing.
Yeah, it was. It's probably one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me. Yeah. I mean, I did have incidences where I did have an incident where I was telling you that someone pulled the cover, like something pulled the covers off me in bed, but it wasn't attacking me. I think it was just like, hey, pay attention to me. So it wasn't really an attack.
How effective are EVP sessions?
How effective? They're as effective probably, like if you have, okay, it depends on the location and how quiet it can be when you're doing the EVP session, for one thing. Because sometimes I feel like a lot of the times you can debunk some EVPs as some kind of outside noise pollution. If you're in a location at night and there's it's public and it's, you know, in a busy area, sometimes you get like cars driving by, airplanes, trucks and stuff like that, or people out, you know, like going to bars or driving by in their own personal vehicles. If you can get to like a location that's going to be really quiet, I've had a couple EVPs and I've heard a couple EVPs or quite a few EVPs that I think they're the most accurate stuff you can get, actually. Because nothing else can explain them when you know that there's no other noise pollution there and you hear whispering or some little person's voice telling you to get out and you know that you didn't say that and the person next to you didn't say that, then what else, you know, what else can explain that? Nothing really.
No, exactly, no. Definitely not.
Yeah, I think they're the best piece of advice or best piece of evidence you can get besides a physical, like, you know, like a visual piece of evidence that you can debunk in any other way and you know that it's nothing else. EVPs are probably the best thing you can get.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Can a large investigation be conducted with fewer people?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Can a thorough investigation be conducted with few people?
Oh, probably. The location of the building or whatever the size of the building is probably going to have a lot to do with it. But yeah, because they usually, when you usually go into investigation or to investigate a place, they'll usually give you like a large time span to investigate the place so you can do it thoroughly. But I've been in investigations with like 10 people and then I've been with like 3 or 4 people or 5 or 6 people. I think, in my opinion, if the people have done it together quite a few times and they kind of know what their role is and there's fewer people, I think it's easier and better and you're going to get better at, better evidence, better, outcome because you're all cohesive and you already know you kind of have a game plan. It's kind of like your A team. You know what I'm saying? Like there's 4 of you. You all know what your job is. You know, like you're the cameraman. You're the SLS guy. You're the person that's done all the research, so you're going to go through and you're going to verify that whatever evidence we get is actually accurate compared to the research that you did on the place. Yeah, I think like 3 or 4 people is probably like the best amount of people you can have in a investigation to get really good outcome.
Do you release your footage to the public?
We do. Yeah, our team does. After we go over and we make sure that it's not, that we debunk it and make sure that there's no other explanation for it, because you're always going to have your skeptics and your naysayers. But we go through, and I wouldn't want to release anything that doesn't look real anyways, unless I'm telling people, hey, this is a joke, you know what I mean? But if we say, hey, we found this evidence, it's kind of a big deal, because you're not only releasing someone's private, sometimes if you're at a residential, you're not only releasing someone's private stuff, you don't want to like make it look like there's something at their house if there's not. But if also you're at a public location, you don't want to create a fake hype, because then all of a sudden, it's like vultures are going to come out and pick at you and want explanation how you got that evidence, and people might even start going to that location that you got the evidence and trying to see where you got it and how you got it, you know. So yeah, we release it publicly, but only after we go over and we come over and make sure that it's no other explanation other than the fact that it has to be some kind of evidence.
What services do you release your footage to?
We have I'm part of a team called Night Terror Collective. So Night Terror Collective has a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page, and they're all called Night Terror Collective. We have a Twitter. I regularly release stuff on our Instagram, photos and things and videos and stuff and clips. I regularly release stuff on our Facebook page, the Night Terror Collective page, from evidence from things that we've gotten or showing us on investigations, and we do live investigations all the time as well.
Do you upload them to YouTube?
I do have my own YouTube, and I do upload some of our stuff on my own personal YouTube. I'm currently locked out of the Night Terror Collective YouTube because Jason doesn't remember the password, and waiting for, like, if he gets the password or if he figures out how to get into our YouTube. Sorry, I know that doesn't sound very professional, but I can't hack into it. I'm not a hacker. But I have my own YouTube so that I can actually at least put it on our stuff. Hey, Brian and Alan. I can at least put it onto my YouTube so that I can then, if I want to, have an archive of it, I can transfer it over or something. So at least I'm logging what we're doing, kind of like a blog, an ongoing blog. Yeah.
Do you have a website?
We don't have a website. Nope. We have an email, but no website.
Would you get a website?
I would get a website, yeah. Yeah, if that's what Jason wanted to do. I do have, like, my own thing that I do, and I haven't made my own Facebook page, and I haven't made my own website, but I do want to. I have made a podcast site and a podcast, like, to do a podcast with my own project. For my project, it's broadcasted on the Paranormal United Network, their Facebook group page. And I'm in the works of actually getting some promo art and stuff drawn up for to have a banner drawn up for Spectral Sailor. It's called Spectral Sailor. The Spectral Sailor is the show that I do. And then I want to make my own website and my own Facebook page. And I do have a podcast site on Anchor. I don't know if you've heard of Anchor, but they're affiliated with Spotify. Anchor is like a podcast site stemming off of Spotify, and I have created that. So, but I would make a website. I think Night Terror Collective should have a website. I think it's just a good place to have more like detailed stuff about what you actually do, and like what investigations. Like you could put your case numbers on there, and you wouldn't even have to give the names. You could be like Jane Doe or John Doe or whatever. And this is what happened. Just a place to log and blog and constantly show this is where we started. And, this is what we've gotten all of these times at this case number. I just feel like it'd be important. I like to log stuff, like a library.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. I mean, you got to have a website because then that could be your own little sort of memory site, that you can look back on years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Why do houses become haunted?
Why do houses become? That's a good question. Because that's where all the brain comes in, the mind, the thinking, the research, and the investigation. That's the reason everybody has to come together to try to figure that out. I don't have every answer, but I feel like if you take an example of a public place, it's going to be really hard to figure out. Like a historical place, maybe not, because they might have some kind of historically accurate information that they've got posted because it's like a museum. But if you take like a public place, like an apartment or a house that's, really close proximity to all these other houses, sometimes I think it's, unless the person has, and they know why that they think it's haunted, or they know that they had someone that passed on and they're having an experience that's directly linked to like someone they know that passed on, it's really hard to explain why that place is haunted if it's really close. Like apartments are the most hard to explain why they're haunted. I mean, obviously if you say a cemetery, you know why it's haunted, but it's not a house. Or a house that's right next to a cemetery is most likely haunted because it's next to a cemetery. But yeah, like if you're in a historical like museum type home where they've opened it up for people to come in and out and in and out, I think that those ones would fall most of the time, a lot of the time, under a residual haunting, which is, but then people argue that it could be an intelligent haunting. Residual haunting is where like that place just never let go of what happened there. It never let go, and the people never let go of that place once they passed on. Maybe their body went somewhere else, but they didn't go somewhere else. They wouldn't leave because maybe they didn't know they passed on. Maybe they don't know that they're dead. So they still reside there in a residual, basically like a never-ending repetition of what they did when they were there.
Yeah, yeah. Because all paranormal, you see, it really is a trend. So it's really good to know that the answers to these questions, because most people would want to know these answers.
Yeah, it's gotten really big right now, really popular.
Are you doing any collaborations in the future?
Actually, I had been working on a collaboration with a friend. Are you talking about teams? Like when you hook up with other teams in other places and stuff?
Yep.
The thing we're doing at Waverly next weekend is actually a collaboration with a bunch of different teams. There's going to be over 20 people there on that investigation, and we're all from different teams. Next weekend at Waverly, there's some people from 13th Dimension, some people from Ghost Tech are going to be there. Some people from Bat Paranormal are going to be there. And then myself and Jason from Night Terror Collective are going to be there. I don't even know where all of the people, what teams that they're on. They're making up some t-shirts that's going to say everyone's team name on the back of them and who, the names of the people on that team are, which is kind of exciting. But, yeah, that's a big collaboration, I guess, probably, a bigger one. And then we did one in a collaboration, I guess you'd say, when we went to Haunted Hill House. Myself and Jason went there, several months back, and we were there with, it was a public event, so it was like you pay a ticketed price and you can go along, and you're guided by, Rochelle and Brian from Ghost Hunters. So that was kind of a collaboration. They were there by themselves. It wasn't the whole Ghost Hunters team, but it was, they have their own team anyways. They do have Riverbend Paranormal aside from when they were on Ghost Hunters. So that was a collaboration. But yeah, we like to do things like that. I would like to do a lot more. There's been more teams in the area we're in pop up. Like they just formed and they've asked us to do some stuff with them. And I told them I'd like to do some stuff with them in the near future.
Yeah, yeah. What's your view then on people making fake videos that isn't exactly true?
It makes me really mad, and I want to punch them in the face. Because I don't feel like there's enough fiction out there in the world. I don't feel like there's any reason to do that. You're just actually, you're wasting a lot of people's time. There's so much time and energy that you have to put into doing research and investigating anyways to try to find the real answers. Why are you going to waste people's time with fake stuff and try to make them believe that it's real? Just go be a fictional artist or a fictional author or make a movie or something. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of audience out there for that stuff. You know what I mean? For that genre that's not true and it's not real. I think that everyone should think of that stuff with us. I don't know. I think they should be more respectful of that field, because if you're talking about people being alive or dead, I wouldn't want people going around pretending that things are going on where I used to be or I used to live, or involving my fake spirit. I just wouldn't want people to do that. I think it's kind of disrespectful, sort of. There's always another genre or another place that they can put that stuff, and it's still going to get seen, and it's still going to get, watched, and it's still going to entertain people, even if it's fiction.
Yeah, definitely right. So what is your view then, if somebody wants to start off in the paranormal field, but don't know how to, get the rocket flying? What would you say to those people who want to start into it, but doesn't know where to start from?
The first thing I did is I started taking notes and, doing some research myself. And I realized not everything's going to work for everyone. Not like what I say might not work for every individual. Like, some people might have some kind of impairment, like, say somebody's deaf and they want to do paranormal. Somebody's blind and they want to do paranormal. Somebody's dyslexic or colorblind and they want to do paranormal. It's not going to work exactly the same for everybody. If you can get books or audiobooks to read to research, I have several books that I've read to research different kinds of paranormal phenomena. Watch movies. Some of them don't have completely real stuff in it, but you're still going to learn from watching the TV shows that are out there what's real and what's not. You're going to realize when you start doing it that they do some of that stuff because they're under contract and they have to do it for dramatic purposes. That's just going to happen if you're on a contract. But I think that the more that you can take notes, research, actually go out to a library and look up books about spirits and ghosts, research about places that they're like, make a top list of the places you'd like to investigate and make that as a goal for yourself, so that like you actually have motivation to get through all of these other things that are going to get you to those places that you want to visit. Like, I want to go to the Lizzie Borden house one day, and that's going to happen before I die. I know it is, because I can make it happen, I have control over that. Make a goal of what you want to do. If you want a team, make a page, invest into that, cultivate and brand yourself, make you a team, make you a page. If you just want to blog or you just want to be a camera guy, whatever you want to do, find someone that's really successful but has good integrity doing that thing in the paranormal field. And I do not mean Ghost Adventures. Hopefully I don't, get criticized for that. Sorry, my Facebook Messenger keeps popping up and I don't know how to turn off the notifications on it. But I think that they make a goal, research, kind of make a plan. Watch a lot of YouTube videos about different pieces of equipment. That's what I did. I watched a lot of YouTube videos how to use ghost hunting equipment to figure out what piece is right for me. They're expensive anyways. Sometimes you can make your own equipment. I've made and rigged up some of my own pieces of equipment out of old vintage radios and stuff. When I do the Estes method, I use an old AM/FM headset that has an antenna on it, and it has a dial, and it turns on, and you can turn AM/FM. And I use that, and it's old as crap. And I got it from my stepdad's radio shop after he passed away, and I got one of his radios out of his radio shop when he passed away, and I turned them into devices to use. Use stuff like that. Start out with that kind of stuff, and then graduate to like the more expensive things, because you don't have to have expensive equipment. And just have fun. That's like the most important thing, is have fun doing it. Like, really enjoy doing it, Don't take it too seriously.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Yeah. Have you had any paranormal experiences? I'm
collaborating with a team next month. So that would be an unmissable moment. But I'm an urban explorer.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was asking, like, maybe, though, you never talk about having paranormal experiences, so, but if you explore urban areas, you have to have some kind of experience, I would think.
Yeah, my camera.
Huh? Your camera?
Yeah, my camera's got experience videoing.
Yeah. But you don't ever have anything weird happen or anything show up on your camera that you can't explain?
Not that I know of, but I will keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, 'cause that's the most important thing. I take pictures of everything and I record everywhere I go. Just in case, you know what I mean? The more that I think cameras are out there, that's why we get more evidence nowadays, 'cause there's cameras everywhere. Everyone has cameras
Definitely right.
everywhere. Yeah, and in public there's cameras everywhere. I mean, there's no privacy. So, no, we're going to have more like probably a probability of catching like a spirit or some kind of weird phenomena. Do you believe in UFOs?
Well, I personally don't believe in them, but I do watch occasionally some shows that's based on the UFOs.
Yeah. So you're curious about them though?
Kind of, but not too much. How about yourself? Do you believe in the UFOs?
I do believe in the UFOs. Yeah, I don't know that I know exactly what all of them are, but with the footage and the evidence of something being in the sky, which, you know, it doesn't mean it's an alien in it. It's an unidentified flying object. It could be anything. It could be a satellite, a weather balloon. It could be aliens. You know what I mean? So I do believe in UFOs. Yeah, for sure. Intelligent life, I believe in too. I don't think everybody knows exactly what they are yet. Like intelligent life. I mean, dinosaurs existed, right? And we have proof. Dinosaurs are pretty far out there to think that they'd exist, I think. I wouldn't ever think a dinosaur existed. I wouldn't even, know. My imagination wouldn't even grab the space to think for a dinosaur if we didn't have evidence of them. Right? That's crazy that those things used to walk around where we live. So
Yeah.
why couldn't aliens exist? That's what I feel like, and I believe in angels and demons and stuff like that. So if that stuff exists and spirits and other things that we discover every day, like new species, then I definitely think that the aliens could exist. We just maybe we don't. Sorry, I'm turning off the notifications right now, so they'll stop popping up. Maybe we just have to keep looking. And maybe you don't know the answers. Maybe you don't know the answers until you're not here anymore. I don't know. Maybe they all exist on some other plane, and you have to be there to see them. But I do think there's enough, I guess, like in caves of drawings and artifacts, and just like if you go back to Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff like that, and other civilizations, I think there is enough evidence of something that is not on the earth, that is of some other plane. I just don't,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's not came to me and stood in front of me and made itself known, so.
Many groups think it's unethical to charge for an investigation.
Mhm.
What is your view on that matter? Would you charge? But what's your
We
view?
haven't ever charged for an investigation, not once. We have sometimes, sorry, there's a hair poking out. We have sometimes said, though, that we will take donations just because it's a thing that you do that you're fully you're self-employed, you're self-invested, you don't have any income to keep going and doing that thing. And it can get expensive. So if you have to take off of your full-time job and you don't get paid for missing that day because you're going on an investigation, you got to somehow, it would be nice to make it for that income. Or if you're a part-time worker or coronavirus, look how a lot of people have suffered financially. And if you're into paranormal investigation, I think that's why a lot of stuff has gone to social platform instead of as many investigations. But there's got to be some way to fund that if you can't get a sponsorship somehow. But sometimes people will donate things or whatever, or like, be really hospitable and give you dinner or food or something like that, or provide you a meal and things of that sort, which is just as good because you're not having to, out of your pocket for that dinner or that lunch or whatever.
Yeah. We'll take a quick commercial break, Rosie.
Sure.
Well, everyone watching this live, we're going to go for a quick commercial break, and we'll return in just a few moments with some more questions. Stay tuned and keep it real. Welcome back!
Yay! I'm fixing
How
to
did you
light
enjoy
me.
that commercial break? Was it good and funky?
I ran far away to Mexico and came back.
Do you believe your ancestors are watching you then?
I do think that they are. Yeah, because of the experience that I was saying that I had with one of them, which, well, I guess that wasn't specifically an ancestor. It was like a family member in, this lifetime, in this, decade, I guess, or century. But I do believe that, yeah. I think that they are probably trying to guide you or give you signs sometimes. Not all of them, but some of them probably, especially if they're connected to you. Like if they had the same gift as you or something like that, I do feel like kind of they're an ascended version of you, kind of like an ascended master of what you're going through, and they've mastered it, and they're going to watch over you and help guide you, sort of like a parent would or whatever, but like as a spirit guide, like they would be a spirit guide for you.
If someone dies a violent death, would he become a ghost?
It's more likely, probably, because they didn't prepare, expect, or they weren't ready for it, and the energy that was connected to the violent death usually causes a pretty heavy haunting. And their business would be unfinished. A lot of the times hauntings happen because the spirit has unfinished business. It doesn't get to explain its side of the story or what happened. It doesn't get vengeance. It doesn't get a closure with its family. So it would want to stay here to try to get and resolve that.
Would you be scared if a ghost talked to you?
Was when one did talk to me before, yeah. I have been. Not as much now because it's expected, I guess, after so many times, and after getting more familiar with that, it's not as scary. But I still think that if you're walking around and even like talking to other people, say you're going to the bathroom and all of a sudden you hear somebody's voice and there's nobody around and there's no explanation for it, you still get startled. Yeah, because you're not expecting it. Especially if you don't.
Do you think aliens are monsters?
Do I think aliens are monsters?
Yeah.
Aliens are monsters? No, not really. I guess I think monsters are I feel like monsters are more of a negative energy or a negative type of thing. Maybe because our culture has created and built up around the word monster meaning something bad. But I think aliens would be something that was a gift for us if we actually knew how to receive and understand their intelligence.
Do you believe in vampires?
I do. I've been to New Orleans and met some vampires before, and there are still I don't know if you call them like a den or a group or like a club of people that call themselves vampires. I don't think that they're exactly like they portray them in movies, no. But I do believe in vampires. Like vampirism is kind of being able to captivate and like feed off of somebody or something and exert some kind of mind control. So I think people are capable of doing that, and there's people that exist right now that are doing that or can do that, yeah.
Do you believe in astrology?
Most of it, the part that I understand. I do believe a lot in what signs and attributes people have if they're born under a certain sign. A lot of people don't believe in that, but I've studied it since I was probably 12 or 13 or 14, and I'm almost 40 now, and I just found so many synchronicities and too many coincidences for it to just not be at all true. But I don't know a lot about when you get extended into it, like what your north node is or what house you're in, and all. I don't know all of that stuff, so.
What is the field of ghosting and paranormal investigating needs the most attention?
What's the part in investigating that needs the most attention?
Yeah. What do you think it needs the most attention? What part of it?
Probably like more than one answer. Probably anything that has to do with or that is causing enough disturbance and turmoil to people that it's actually disturbing like their calmness, it's disturbing their soul, it's disturbing their peace, such as an attachment or a possession or an extremely like heightened poltergeist haunting or strong one. Anything involving kids, where kids are being disturbed, plagued, or bothered by a spirit or an entity or energy, or finding out the other side of that story, basically. Why is that thing there? What is that thing wanting? What is that energy desiring? What is its purpose with being there and causing the disturbance? Whether it be a spirit, an anomaly, a demonic thing, a dark, like just more like on the darker end of like a dark spirit that was a dark person and they passed away and they became a dark spirit, or if it's like a spirit that's trapped here that doesn't want to be here anymore and it wants to know how to go and, like be released from being trapped here.
Read any good paranormal books?
A book that I always think is a good book to read, especially if someone's going to go into the paranormal field, and it's going to teach you a lot of things to protect yourself from and to be aware of, is called Paranormal Parasites. I don't remember who the author is because I bought it and I gave it to a person I was helping as a gift because this person, was under spiritual attack and they were having a lot of, like they were really dealing with some bad stuff, and I bought it and gave it as a gift, but it was called Paranormal Parasites, and it explained different chapters, explained different kinds of dark or harmful things that you might be dealing with, or how to protect yourself against these and how to identify them, like black-eyed children was one of them. That still remains extremely mysterious to everyone. Nobody knows enough. We don't have enough evidence or enough dealings with black-eyed children. And it had other things in it that I think like the men in the black suits or whatever that mysteriously show up at people's houses and want them to be hush-hush or quiet about something that has happened that's unexplainable and they don't want it to get to the surface and be known. Those things were in there.
Have you been on any podcasts prior to this one?
Yes. There's a podcast that Kevin, I can't remember his last name. Kevin, the Psychic Medium, I believe is the name of his page. Kevin, the Psychic Medium. He has a YouTube and he has a Facebook page and he also has a website. We were interviewed on his podcast. I had touched base with him and asked him because he was looking for people to interview that were in the paranormal field because he's a psychic medium, so he didn't actually know the other side of the fence, you know what I mean, like the paranormal investigator side. We were on his podcast. There is Howard Petrie from Paranormal United Network. He has the Petrie Dish and Swamp Paranormal Investigations. We were on his. He interviewed us. And it seems like there's several others. I just can't remember. We've been interviewed by newspapers.
Interesting.
Like actual real newspapers. And they put it, print it out and put it out to buy.
So what do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I have kids. 2 kids. That keeps me pretty busy. I have a young boy that's really, really active and likes to play toys. So, I don't know if you can see all this, but I have action figures and stuff up here. So I like toys and action figures and comic books. He likes all that stuff. He's 4. And I have a teenager who's like the opposite, She's fixing to go to prom and trying to get her driver's license and trying to like date and stuff. So busy with that. And then I do a lot of different stuff. I make soap and spiritual remedies, like kind of like a cleansing kits and altar kits and black salt and things that people can use to, put intention behind and spiritual prayers and stuff behind, and they can protect themselves and their families or do their own home cleansings, especially during like coronavirus times. I know I've shipped a couple of cleansing kits off to people, and I told them that if they'd call me and FaceTime me, I'd kind of walk them through what to do, because you can't just go to everybody's house, especially if they live really far away like Texas or something. And I live in Oklahoma. I like to paint. It seems like I haven't done as much lately since the traveling and stuff's been postponed, because I used to travel a lot more. Yeah. I used to work out, so I like doing that. I'm going to start doing that more.
Are there any upcoming investigations?
Yes, the Waverly Hills one is one that we're going to be doing. And like I was saying, that's next weekend. That's going to be the 25th and the 26th at Louisville, Kentucky, at Waverly Sanitarium. I'll be there with the Paranormal United Network. A lot of people that are part of the Paranormal United Network that's going to be on different teams that are going to be there collaborating together. I believe that Rick from Not Terror Collective he said he's booked us a trip to Gettysburg also. And we also have a big project. It's going to be a fear festival in August on Friday the 13th and 14th at Broken Bow Asylum. We'll be hosting and doing investigations there also on those days that the Fear Fest is. I think I'm going to help lead some of the investigations. Like, I'll be one of the leaders of investigations for the people that pay to come there and to go on investigations or whatever. So those are 3 different things right now that are planned.
Are there any upcoming live events so where viewers like me personally could interact with yourself or the entire team?
The whole time, the night that we get there and the first night that we're going on the 25th at Waverly, starting at 6 p.m. is when we're going to have the doors open for us. We're going to do live, I believe, the whole time that we're there, or most of the time that we're there that night. And every hour they're going to switch and let a different team go on. Myself and Jason are going to be on at 9 p.m. that night on the 25th from Waverly, because that's when my show airs on Monday nights at 8 Central Standard Time, but it's 9 Eastern Time, and I'll be in the Eastern Time, zone. So there's other people that'll be on before me, other people that'll be on after me. So it's going to be like a swing, like a revolving door that whole night on the 25th at Waverly. If you tune into Paranormal United Network, there should be every hour a different team going live from that location that first night. The second night, I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it. I think they're actually doing a recording for a project or something that they're doing.
What 3 facts do we know about you?
Don't you know about me?
Spill the beans.
I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. Like huge, like obsessed with it. I like that show, and I like a lot of other shows that are like that, like iZombie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, True Blood, Supernatural. Another thing that you don't know about me is I'm in the Navy Reserve. I think I might have told you, but I don't tell most people that I'm a reservist in the Navy. So that's why I haven't traveled as much, but I used to travel a lot. I've traveled a lot. I've seen a lot of different places overseas and all over the world, but not in the last year or two, except for what I've done here. And then another thing that you don't know about me, I'm a huge animal lover and an animal rights activist, and I love shark conservation and marine life and sea life conservation. Yep.
Sounds interesting.
I like to conserve, like I don't think most people actually know, how endangered or become on the verge of becoming endangered that a lot of sharks are in some places.
What do you think the meaning of life is?
The meaning of life? To constantly seek the meaning of life. And you probably won't get it until you're about to leave it. And to never stop keeping the golden rule going on for you to treat others as you want to be treated, even how crappy and how many times you get knocked down and how many times you encounter misfortune in your life, abandonment in your life, toxic people in your life, toxic situations, and just like, near-death experiences, anything that comes in your life as an obstacle that is meant to take you down. If you can overcome that hurdle and keep running forward at whatever pace is comfortable for you, I think that that's the meaning of life while we're here. To not give in and not be conquered.
Very good advice there. Well, very, very good a statement.
Yeah.
Have you had any online trolls or online bullying?
Yeah. You mean like people that follow you and like cause you problems?
Yeah.
On social media? Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, that's what happened
There's
with...
an example of that. Here's an example.
I won't say any names, but like, there's been like 3 different ones that I know of, unless you count fake accounts that one of them made, and you count that as another person. But yeah, I've had 2 males and 1 female that actually is the root of how I was experiencing that stuff with the butter knife, with the soap that had the 3 slits in it and the butter knife in front of me sticking up in it, and the seeing like it looked like a little girl's spirit in my back bedroom walking back and forth, and then experiencing other like things that you couldn't see but you could feel happening to you. Yeah, I believe that 2 of those people, or at least one of them, because they knew each other, put that on me, and I actually consulted with a psychic, like a fellow psychic medium, and was told that that's what happened, is that the female troll is the one that was casting bruhidia on me. So I've had a female troll and 2 male trolls, yeah, and one of them actually tried to contact me the other day, and I just ignored them. I think if you ignore them long enough and you put up as much safeguard as you can and block and as much security as you can, and you just kind of make those close to you aware that that's going on just in case, like your family or your friends, make them aware that that's going on to keep them safe, then eventually they'll give up and go away, and they'll get bored and they'll find something else to troll.
Yeah, at least that's a very good way there of how to deal with online bullying if it ever came to that individual watching this or anyone that had suffered it previously. At least they know that there are actions on their social media platform that they should implement if it's getting too close to home. However, I feel that a lot more is needed on these social media to safeguard and to
Yeah, it
have more
is.
protection for those that are using their platforms.
Yeah, it is. Like if they had some kind of security system set into more platforms to safeguard against what kind of actions are suspicious of an account that could suggest that it's a trolling account or suggest that it's a fake account or suggest it's a stalker or it's a terrorist or it's a solicitor or what do you call it when people like sell children? They sell children or they solicit women for sex. I can't remember what it's called, but any like accounts that are made up for that. I actually have a friend that actually dealt with something similar to that recently. She had her account hacked. She had we thought that she might have had money taken off of her debit card, and it was from some fake account off of Facebook that she talked to, and they hacked her Facebook. They changed her name on her Facebook. They wiped her family off of her Facebook.
Oh
Her
my word.
husband, her kid, they were all gone off of her Facebook. And I told her I thought they were trying to steal her identity. But usually you have to go and seek identity theft facilities to help you or services to help you. But I think that they should be free and there should be plenty. If Facebook makes enough money to run Facebook, they should have enough people to patrol and employ against identity theft to
Definitely
where
right.
you can't make fake accounts. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it needs a bit more Parliament backup really on that matter.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, then there's nothing that we could probably do that would change their decision. Hence why it needs more media attention, and hence why it should be brought up more often in these
More
news reports and
cybersecurity.
press conferences.
Have you ever had any of your accounts hacked or like even like money taken off your bank account hacked or anything like that?
Well, I did have a phone scam that I actually thought it was quite interesting. So I handed over my bank details over the phone, and
That's what my
these
friend did.
scammed me about £100. So that would never happen again because I got very, very good bank security.
Yeah.
But you see, but with regards to the social media, I did have trolls as well. We all face trolls in what we do in our career. But they set up a duplicate account of me a couple of months ago now. They haven't done it since, which I'm glad about. But they did, and they were trying to pretend to be my manager. Now, I was rather nervous at that point. Rather irritated is another word. Because they could be contacting my guests and thinking that it's legitimate, and they could be cancelling them or giving them a bit more of a verbal abuse sort of thing. So I had to act very promptly. And I had to speak to other teams I've interviewed to put it posted on their pages so that everyone were aware of it. Because if they didn't, cooperate with that, I could be in a bit of a huge hot water. But luckily nothing severe came out of it. So I have had a lot of trolling in what I do, because it's all about jealousy, and they want to try and do absolutely anything in their power to make them feel that they got power over me. Which is never going to happen. Because if anything, I got power over them. Because I could use my following, my contacts to the best advantage. And there's nothing they could do to stop me on that.
Yeah. I think also sometimes it's not just they're jealous. Maybe they're obsessed with you and they want to be you. You know what I mean?
I would be rather surprised if they did.
Well, I feel like that's what sometimes it is because the female that trolled me tried to be just like me. I don't know why. I thought she looked better than me, and I guess it's because her insides were not aligned. You know what I mean? Like her soul, her mind, her mentality, her emotions weren't aligned. But I didn't understand that until I started to deal with it more, and she actually called me. I actually spoke to her on the phone multiple times. I even actually tried to help her out. And be nice to her and like be gracious and like, like supportive and like try to find out, if whatever issue she was having, like if there was a way to, make it better. But that didn't really help the situation. But I feel like there was just something that had maybe happened to that person in their younger years, and they didn't have something, and maybe you have it, and they wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they don't want to be you, they don't want to look like you, they don't want to wear your clothes, but you have something they'd never had, and they want it, and they're seeking it, and by becoming you, they're wearing a mask that
Well,
they
I'm
have it.
sorry there, Rosie, but no one will ever
Huh?
be like me, 'cause it's only me.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, Rosie, did you enjoy the interview today?
Yes. Yep.
Did you enjoy being interviewed by the UK British podcaster?
Yeah, I like to talk to you guys from other places and stuff because it, gives more insight to what's going on around the world. It's not just in the United States only.
Do
You'll
you
have
think
different
people should
ideas.
subscribe? Do you think people should subscribe to this channel?
Yes.
Why?
And also you'll have more people because then they can also gather insight from you and your guests on like how other, I don't want to say cultures because I feel like y'all's culture is the same, but like other places, other locations look at things, view things, and handle things, do things, and like different. Y'all might investigate way different. You have different locations that we've never been to that have different history and different, information. And
Am I
I
the
think,
best podcaster radio host?
are you the best? Am I supposed to say
Am I the
yes?
best?
I mean, you're good. I've not been interviewed like a lot, but I guess you're a really good one. So far, you're the best. Yeah.
That's more like it, Rosie. That's more like it.
Yeah.
Would you like to come back on the show?
Yeah. Yep, if you want me to, and if you want me to bring Jason with me, I will.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
How does July sound?
Huh?
July.
Yeah. Sure. July.
Any date?
Yeah, we could do July as long as it's not a Monday night for me. And that's it. It's kind of like,
How
just
do I
shoot me
get
a date.
in contact with the team? Do I message you directly or do I message some other business page?
You can message me or you can message the page. But it doesn't matter if you message me, I'm going to tell them. Yep.
That's good. I don't want them just going in the bin as I sent them, Rosie. They're going to be seen and looked at.
If you want to, are you wanting to contact Night Terror Collective? Are you wanting to talk to Paranormal United Network? If you want to contact anyone on Paranormal United Network, you're going to look up the Paranormal United Network Facebook group page, and you can message them there. That's where my show is at on Monday nights, and there is lots of different interviews and useful knowledge on there from all the other teams that are a part of that page. So you'd have a really good chance of getting a good answer if you have questions about something paranormal there, because there's teams from all over the world, not just United States. There's teams from Scotland and Ireland, UK, all over the world. Night Terror Collective, you can look them up on Facebook under Night Terror Collective. Message them if you're wanting to know a specific question or talk to a specific member of Night Terror Collective.
Do they do interviews, these groups? Because I will I will sure give them a message.
Yeah, we've done interviews together. Yeah, we can do an interview together.
I'll definitely will send a message their way.
Okay.
Well, Rosie, I hope you enjoyed today's interview. It's been a pleasure to interview you. And,
Thank you.
You'll be back on the show now in July. So have a great summer ahead of you and take care. And I'll see you on the next shows that I do, which is tonight.
All right. Bye.
Bye!